watching Medfield TV.
The next article that we are considering is Article number 25. Article 25 is an article to appropriate funds for liability insurance policy and to authorize the selectmen to enter into a lease with the MBTA, Mass Department of Transportation, for a multi-purpose recreational trail on the abandoned rail line. You can find it at page 57 of the warrant report. We do not have a positive motion from the warrant committee. Do we have a positive motion from the floor? Yeah. Microphone number 2. Then you.
Christian Donna, 92 Green Street. Move that the town authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into a lease with the MBTA and/or Mass Department of Transportation, DOT, for the purpose of providing a route for development of a multi-purpose recreational trail, provided that the Board of Selectmen is satisfied that there are sufficient available funds from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts or other sources to commence construction and/or to purchase environmental liability insurance. So I just want to emphasize the other sources here.
Okay, do we have a report from the warrant committee?
We do. This article, as posted in the warrant, seeks 2 things. First, to give the Board of Selectmen authority to enter into a lease with the MBTA, or the Mass Department of Transportation, for the abandoned rail trail on which a multi-purpose trail would be constructed. And 2, funding for purchasing environmental liability insurance at a cost approximately $40,000, or insisting with construction financing. Since the warrant was posted, the Rail Trail Committee has dropped the funding request in connection with this article. Even without the funding request, there remain several issues with authorizing the Board of Selectmen to enter into this lease. First, the question of potential environmental liability to the town has not, at this point, been fully vetted by the town. Second, the proposed trail is 1.3 miles and will not connect to trails in any other town or anywhere else in Medfield. Third, the trail would cross 2 busy streets, Farm Street and Harding Street. And finally, if the committee is unable to attain funding and/or grant monies, the town may be obligated financially in the future, capping the railroad trail bed if the project is started but does not proceed, improving road crossings and ongoing maintenance, and perhaps from the DPW. Due to the current inability to quantify the potential long-term cost to the town, and with an eye towards the risk versus reward calculation with respect to this article, the warrant committee recommends dismissal.
Are there any comments on this article? Mr. Peterson.
The Board of Selectmen voted in favor of this article, specifically, I think, because we like the idea of getting a rail trail in town, and also because there was no town money attached to it. I think that even if Dover doesn't connect us to the rest of the world on this, we still get a little section that will improve the town. So we voted 3-0 in favor of this article.
Microphone number 2.
Dick Judge, 8 Juniper. There are very few things a town can do to increase their value as a town, and recommend getting athletic parks and so forth for virtually nothing. This is an opportunity for the town to connect an emerald necklace around the town, going from one part of the town in toward the state hospital, following most of the Bay State Trail. This is an opportunity that other towns around us have taken. We are doing it on the cheap. We are doing it with mostly donated time and effort from the people of the town of Medfield. So my feeling is that a vote in affirmative would put us in the right direction to increase our recreation space in town for a minimal cost. Thank you.
1.
I'm just concerned about what these costs are going to be because nothing's truly defined. It's based on some grants that are not, we don't know exactly how much is going to come through. We don't know when they're going to come through. So the funding, I think, is not as clear. And I think the town's responsibility may be more than we think it's going to be, not only to bring it to the town, but also to maintain it and to maintain safety, safety around the trail. The other piece that I'm concerned about is I would like, I'm in a butter, and I would like more information. I know I've talked to various people, but I still feel like I have a lot of questions that things weren't specific enough about what they're going to use as fencing and blocking so that my property is somewhat protected. I don't think there's enough specifics for my vote, and I would like other people to get more specific information before they vote yes on this.
Okay. Thank you. Microphone number 2, final comment.
Christian Donner, 92 Green Street. I just want to address a couple of points that in the Warrant Committee's concerns, specifically the liability insurance and the funding question. And the liability insurance is a technicality that is required by the language in the MBTA lease. It's not really mandated because we see that there's a lot of risk from environmental contamination in the corridor, but by purchasing that policy, you get a different lease basically that is much better than if you don't have the policy. The cost of the lease, we recently got a quote just in a few days. It's $37,000 for 5 years, and that is part of the numbers that I put together that were on the flyer that I distributed outside. So that would also be covered through our fundraising effort and not tax money from the town. The other question about funding in general, also I refer to the flyer that I distributed. So we have a study done last year in 2016 into 2017. There was a design study done from a professional engineering firm, paid for through donations and raised by the Bay Colony Rail Trail Association and then granted to the town of Medfield. So we have this study. It's very detailed. It has very, very detailed cost estimates. It's all there. It's all available on the website, medfield.baycolonyrailtrail.org. Specifically, we estimate for phase 1 that would include a stone dust capped trail. So there's no exposure. You can leave it that way for years. If we cannot raise the remainder of the money to really finish the project, we can leave it in that state. There's no danger. It's not exposed. There's no liability or risk. It's $320,000 roughly for the first phase, and we have a $100,000 grant pending. The application was submitted in February for a DCR grant through the Recreational Trails Program, and there's a good chance that we get that, and we can get a smaller amount or even the same amount next year if we apply again. So I think it's doable that the Friends of the Medfield Rail Trail Committee can raise the $320,000 to complete phase 1. Now, is there risk? Here's what we do to take the risk out of this. We don't sign the lease with the MBTA until we have the money, and we have about 2 years to do that because the grant has like a 2-year period until it needs to be spent. So grants are awarded in October, and from that point on, we have 2 years to spend the money. So in those 2 years, we need to raise $300,000, sign the lease, start construction, and we wouldn't ask the selectmen to do that until we have the money. So that's all.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to put this motion to a vote. The positive motion came from Mr. Donner and from the floor. It was that moved that the town authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into a lease with the MBTA or the Mass Department of Transportation for the purposes of providing a route for development of a multipurpose recreational trail, provided that the Board of Selectmen is satisfied that there are sufficient available funds from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts or other sources to commence construction and or to purchase environmental liability insurance. So a vote in favor would be a vote in favor of the motion made from the floor. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. If I could have a show of hands. So if you're in favor, please raise your hands. And if you're opposed, I'm going to deem that the motion carries.